What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm really excited to bring my review of the Slicey PINTAIL. This one is a 3-inch with a 9CR Damascus, but honestly, the better buy is going to be for under $80, picking up that S35VN variant. I do have the 4-inch wood. They offer it with Damascus or wood. 7 inches overall, coming in at an ultra lightweight 2.76 ounces, ceramic bearings, flipper tab, thumb studs, and all of them are outstanding action because of those ceramic bearings. Let's go ahead and verify that weight. Again, the claim weight is 2.76 ounces. Ooh, I dropped that down on there. 2.7, probably 2.76, because you saw my scale try to bounce between 2.76 and 2.8. Really great knife. What I'd like to do is go ahead and get the comparison knives out of the way, and then I'll do some comparable knives. So the difference is to give you frame of reference on some popular knives that I like, and then the comparable are things that I believe that I own that are in the same ballpark as far as size and performance. And then I'll give you my final thoughts and impressions. So first up on the comparison knives is going to be the Spyderco PM2. We'll get this one right down here. This one has a 3.44 inch S35VN blade with a 4.81 inch G10 handles. These are the Flytanium scales if you're wondering. 8.25 inches overall and a weight of 3.75 ounces. So you can see this one here is definitely a small to medium sized knife. We'll go ahead and bring out the Yojimbo 2 as well. And this one here has a 3.125 inch S20V blade steel, 4.5 inches of G10 handles. I don't know why I said it like that. 7.5 inches overall and coming in at a lightweight 4 ounces. So we'll go ahead and bring out a couple more comparison knives. I like to mix them up to try to make sure that I get all the types of knives that you guys may carry and or be familiar with. Then we'll do some profile comparisons once we get through those. So first up is going to be the Benchmade Bug Out, which has a 3.24 inch S30V blade with 4.22 inch G10 handles. These also are the Flytanium crossfade handles. 7.46 inches overall and coming in at a ultra lightweight 2.3 ounces. So you can see the Bug Out is close to the size of the PINTAIL, but the PINTAIL again is much smaller. Next up, we're going to bring out the SIG K320 made by Hogue. This one has a 3.5 inch S30V blade, a 4.5 inch polymer handle, an overall length of 8 inches, and coming in at a lightweight 4.16 ounces. So you can see these both clearly dwarf the PINTAIL. And again, if you have these, hopefully this helps you with a frame of reference of just how small this knife is. Let's bring out the last two comparisons. These are my budget knives. One very popular in the EDC community and recommendable. The other one I believe is getting popular and is highly recommendable. So first up is going to be the Slicey Elementum. And as you can see, this is right in line with the PINTAIL for size. 2.96 inch D2 steel. It has a 4.03 inch handle with micarta scales, 6.99 inches overall, and coming in at a lightweight 2.89 ounces. So you can see this compares very favorably, and hopefully if you're familiar with the Elementum or you've ever handled the Elementum, this will help you understand where this knife is landing far as size. Next up is going to be the CJRB Feldspar. Still really like the look of that. I think it's such a cool look with that burlap micarta and that brass pivot collar. It looks nice. Has a 3.5 inch D2 steel, stone washed, really well done too. 4.6 inch, as I mentioned, burlap micarta handles, 8.1 inches overall, and still a very lightweight 3.6 ounces, 3.67 ounces. Almost forgot the 7 there, guys. So you got a really good look at some of the comparison knives as far as how the length and profile looks. Now let's look at the thickness of the knife itself. So again, I think the The Elementum is going to be the closest comparison far as size, both open and closed, and thickness. So you can see there, very, very similar. I would call that even. Both of them have the little bit of pivot bolt sticking up out of it. The feldspar is going to be a little bit thicker because it's contoured scales make it seem thicker. And when you come down to where it thins out, it's really close. So just to give you again some comparisons. Now the bug out is a very thin knife, and I have to bring my thumb over just a little bit because it contours down here and it's hard to get it to sit up. So I know it looks funny that I'm moving over so far, but I just wanted to make sure that it's kind of sitting fairly, although it's still obviously thinner. Now, if you've seen some of my other reviews, you know that this looks super thick until you bring it over onto the pocket clip side, and that's because it does have that V shape going to it, which lends to the ergonomics. So I don't know how much that helps folks, but if you do have the K320, you can kind of understand this is the same thickness towards the base of the knife. The last two, and this one again represents both the Para 3 and the Yojimbo 2 because they are the same thickness, and I would say that's probably even because it does have that chamfering that contours down, so it does look thinner, but if you look just past that, you can kind of see where it's almost identical. I'm not going to bother bringing the PM2 out here because the crossfade scales on that are very big. Now, what I'd like to do really quick is let me go ahead and give you my thoughts actually first. I'm going to change it up a little bit here. So I really do like this as a small knife. It does actually fit in my fifth pocket. I love the fact that it's super thin and slicey. It has a little bit of a hollow grind, and it is so thin behind the edge. It has this swedge here too that's going to help it just kind of slice through any task that you're doing. And I honestly think that I could definitely break down some cardboard boxes and things with that. It is a 3.5 finger grip. You could throw a lanyard on there if you wanted to have a little bit of extra security for your pinky, but I really don't think that I need it. The pocket clip just happens to land right in a spot where it doesn't bother me because it is really thin in the actual handle stock. So ergos are really, really impressive. I was very surprised. I honestly thought because of the specs that this was not going to be something that fit in my hand really good and had such good ergonomics. Thumb studs just start on the blade path, but I think that gives you the guidance to keep it from coming into that sharpening choil, which is really well done. And again, I recommend if you're looking at this as a primary or even like a primary backup at the S35VN variant, unless you are like me and you just really like the aesthetics of the wooden Damascus. Again, it looks really good and is really well done. The only thing that I think I'd probably complain about, it is a reversible deep carry pocket clip, and the pocket clip, like I said, it works really well on this knife. I can't complain. It happens to sit in the right spot. Let me try that again. They did do some milling out on the liners there, so you can see they did try to keep the weight down. I just wish, and I think this is probably my only complaint on a knife this size, that they would have just taken this and dropped it down and made it part of the pocket clip. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. So on the Asticus, the barrel spacer has the open hole and then has the larger hole for the actual bolt to go through for the barrel spacer. And then on the other side, this bolt is bigger on the barrel spacer and they connect. And if they would have just brought this up and made it integrated with a little backspacer maybe, I think that would have worked better. If you're familiar with the mini Asticus, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But that again, nitpicking, very small complaint, really good action. It does want to fall shut. And I'm kind of glad that the flipper tab keeps it from falling because it will guillotine down on your hand. And I do have the internal stop pin, which I actually really like because I feel like when you do that with the steel liners on a knife, it's just going to prevent it from developing any type of lock rock. Let's take a look at that lockup. Lockup's really good. Look at that. That's about 50%. It's hard to tell on the dark materials in this lighting. I'm pretty sure that's 50%. Access to the liner lock is really generous. I have no issues getting to it. Jimping is perfect for laying your thumb on it and sliding it over by pressing down on it. I'm learning here liner locks from different companies all have like a different mindset on how to approach it. So very interesting. I do feel just a touch of the liners raised up above, but it's not hot or uncomfortable. So really, really nice. Let me throw some knives that I think compare very well to this knife. And I'm going to start out with some knives from the same brand, or start out with a knife from the same brand. That's going to be the Baby Banter. Now, this one here I think is probably going to be a really good comparison because I consider this a dedicated fifth pocket knife. Or if you're living in a state where you have to have a small knife, but what is deceiving about this knife and the way that I believe it's intended to be used, it is also a 3.5 finger grip knife because you're putting your finger over that finger choil to do the cutting that you want to do with this knife. I don't think you would be doing push cuts, but for me, because my hand's so much bigger, I have to come inward a little bit on top of the finger guard to be able to get any type of push grip. And I believe this is going to work like a utility blade, and that you could definitely break down some boxes, but I would want a larger knife to do that task on a regular basis. But on occasion, it's going to be fine. Another knife that's really popular in the small knife realm is going to be the Benchmade mini bug out. I figured since I used the big bug out for the comparisons, I'd use the mini. So you can see this is just a small to medium sized knife, right? Because these are knives that I consider in my rotation as a fifth pocket carry. So you can see this really is just a little bit bigger and a little bit beefier. And that's why I said you definitely can do some heavier tasks with it. Although I do believe it is limited. I'd say it's in that medium task realm. Two other quick office carry, fifth pocket carry knives that I really like is going to be the Kaiser Feist. And you can see the Feist is getting a little bit closer to the size, but the Feist has a different approach because you have the ergos and the finger choil and the contouring here on the PINTAIL. You have just that pin style knife for this one here that allows for a full 4-finger grip. And you know, because you just have a very neutral handle, you don't have anything that's kind of dictating where your hand falls on this one. So the Feist is really close to that size, but not quite there. It has just the thinner profile overall. I mean, definitely 100% for my rotation. That's a fifth carry backup knife. And another knife that I wanted to throw out here for reference is going to be the CJRB Rhea. And this one here is going to be the same length, but obviously still a pin-sized, like writing pin-sized knife, to where I dedicate it as a fifth pocket carry. Or in some cases when I'm wearing khakis and I don't want the pocket clip to show, I'm using a pocket organizer from like Hitch and Timber or Art Company and just leaving it down in the pocket with like a flashlight and a pen, so that I still have what I need, but it's not really something that's hanging out on the pocket in a place where I'm trying to dress up and present myself a little bit more formal. So those are really all of the knives that I just wanted to pull out to do some comparisons. I thought it'd be a little bit more fun to mix it up and just do my thoughts and impressions in the midpoint of the video, and then give you guys some knives that I think are sort of comparable to that. The PINTAIL overall is very recommendable. Under $80 for micarta steel liners and S35VN is a really good price point. And the Crucible, I believe, makes the S35VN, so you get an American steel on that. So again, you're supporting America a little bit with that, because I know some folks are like, don't give to China. For me as a reviewer, I'm looking at all the knives, and I'm looking for competition to come from all countries that make knives like this, because I want all manufacturers to feel pressured to bring the best value at the best price to the market. And that's to say production companies. I know hand makers and small manufacturers and things like that are a little bit different, and I understand why, and I appreciate them and I want to support them. But I'm just saying, as a whole in the industry, I look for competition, and I love when companies make stuff like this that really just push the envelope on, you know, what you may consider as an everyday carry pocket knife. Not a work knife, just something that you're carrying around every day. If you enjoyed the video, if you could leave a like for me, it really helps. I appreciate all the support out there for you that have subscribed and like the videos and leave comments. It means a lot to me, and I really enjoy the interaction with you guys and the input. Some of you guys have actually pointed me in the direction of some knives that I've been excited to check out and have stuff coming in the future on. If you do enjoy content like this, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you. Totally up to you if you want to do that. And don't forget to turn on your notifications if you do, so you get alerts when videos drop in case there's something that interests you that you want to check out. Thanks for all the support. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. And until next time, peace.